All right, here's another big name that has turned into a disastrous situation. Micah Hudson is one of two former five-star receivers that I don't see ever playing a role in college football. Not in a significant way. They're not going to be playing for teams that you want to watch on Saturdays this fall, because this is sort of a microcosm, an offshoot of the whole Nico debacle. Because what you have with Micah Hudson is a variety of situations. But what you really have, like off the field, I'm not going to speak to every single incident here, and I'll tell you the other guy in a moment. But what's starting to happen, I mentioned this earlier on the show. Fran Brown at Syracuse publicly came out and said, not paying a wide receiver $2 million. Not going to do it. Then Tennessee was the first to say, yeah, we're not paying a guy for it. We're not just going to give in just because you're talented. It is I think this is overall good for the sport. There are going to be some sacrificial lambs in this regard, but I think you are going to see a double and tripling down from college football coaches across the country when it comes to mega talents. That if you are a headache, we're not putting up with it. Some coaches have always been this way. But I think in the transfer portal era, what you have seen is a tendency for teams and programs to maybe take a chance or a flyer on a guy because, well, he's talented and we got to win games and we got to do. No, I think we're seeing a course correction here. So my prediction is Micah Hudson, as a former five-star receiver in the 2024 class, never plays meaningful football at the Power 4 level. Same goes for Johntay Cook, who couldn't figure it out at Texas, goes to Washington, some off-field incidents, no longer with the program. These guys coming out of high school, all the talent in the world. But I think teams are shifting towards the Fran Brown approach to, no, we're not paying that much for one particular player at wide receiver. Or the Tennessee approach, no, we're not going to just cave in here. Or frankly, what Jed Fish at Washington said with regards to Johntay Cook. I don't know about anything he said publicly, but the message was loud and clear. Yeah, you're incredibly talented. Not going to put up with the headaches. I think coaches and administrations get fed up with all that sort of stuff, and they want guys who are going to be positive contributors to the locker room. And overall, I think that's good for college football. I think that's good for kids to be wary of, hey, I can't go in and act like the man and make demands and do whatever I want. No, I have to go and be a good teammate. I have to be responsible. I have to be a contributor to the program and understand I'm part of the whole, and the whole is not responsible to cater to me and all of my needs. So this saga has gone on. If you don't know, by the way, he was, I believe, the highest rated wide receiver commit in the history of Texas Tech football for 2024. Didn't do a whole heck of a lot his first year. Goes to Texas A&M in the winter transfer portal window. And then it was announced he's no longer with the team. I think he's just going to be hanging out there. He could be playing Group of 5 football. Heck, he could be playing FCS football by the time August and September roll around. Won't know for sure. But I think that is absolutely a part of the course correction that I've sensed for a while is kind of coming. That we've swung the pendulum all the way over to the player's side. It's going to swing back. It needs to settle in the middle. It needs to settle in the middle. That's the best place for college sports, that you have a healthy dynamic between organizations, teams, coaches, athletic directors, schools, whoever, acting in their own best interests while not taking advantage of the players financially and giving them a piece of that, but also the players understanding, hey, I'm still coming here to be a part of a team. I'm not coming here to be my own sideshow and to just do whatever the heck I want. I think that course correction is starting to get rolling. And guess what? I'm here for it. I think a lot of you are going to be here for it as well. I think there are a lot of fans out there that get fed up with this stuff that want to see Josh Heupel or Fran Brown or whichever coach in college football say, no, I'm not putting up with that. That's not something I'm going to just accommodate just because you're a talented player. We'll figure out something else. But culture matters, and it's a harder thing to establish when you have as much roster turnover as you do on a year-to-year basis nowadays. But I think that this is absolutely moving in the right direction back to the center. So, Micah Hudson, Johntay Cook, don't expect to be hearing a lot from them in the coming years, maybe for the rest of their careers. And I think that's too bad. I hope they're able to learn lessons and be better as a result. So, a couple other of portal notes. John Emery Jr. is in the transfer portal. I tell you what, he's going into his 7th year of college football, former 5-star recruit. I think he's withdrawn from the portal and gone back to LSU and been in and out like 18 times by now, but he's out there reportedly going in the port. 7th year of college football. There will be a day where 0 college athletes are gaining eligibility because of the COVID year and such. I think we're all kind of looking forward to that day because some of this stuff gets a little excessive. Let's be honest. Like 7th year, but hey, the NCAA says he's good to go. All right, you go, Glenn Coco. So John Emery Jr. is still out there. I don't think he's got the ability because of the injuries he's unfortunately suffered in his career to go be a high impact player necessarily at a Power 4 school. He might wind up in one. He could be a good number 2 back, perhaps. Like he was a 5-star recruit once upon a time for a reason. But another name to know is Blake Steen. The offensive tackle market is really hot in the transfer portal. Frankly, offensive linemen in general. I talked about Auburn's SEC all-freshman selection that went into the portal on yesterday's show. But Blake Steen, offensive tackle from Virginia, guy is ready to slide into a football program better than Virginia and be a starting tackle. I believe he's made most of his starts at right tackle, but I look around and the tackle market is kind of hot. There's perhaps no better example of that than Joe Cotton. So this is someone who I've talked about on the show before. South Dakota transfer, Joe Cotton, coming from an offensive line that helped lead South Dakota to the FCS semifinals last year. So he has quickly become, according to Chris Hummer, one of the most popular names in the transfer portal. His interest list, not necessarily offer, but interest list, looks like this. Just hold on to your hats. Again, he's coming from South Dakota, but has drawn interest from, reportedly, Alabama, Baylor, Cal, Cincinnati, Colorado, Florida. That's the first line. Georgia Tech, Iowa, Kansas, Kansas State, Louisville, Michigan, Mississippi State, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, Penn State, Purdue, Syracuse, Maryland, South Carolina, UCF, USC, Missouri, Vanderbilt, don't overlook Vanderbilt, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. Every now and then, I tell you about guys that might be flying under the radar, and then they pop up on the show. Like I just blanked on Sincere Brown. Yeah, sometimes your brain just freezes for a moment. That's what happened right there. Sincere Brown came from Campbell. Might be talking about a couple guys on the show tomorrow coming from the FCS ranks. FCS ranks getting hit pretty hard because there are a lot of big-time capable players down there playing FCS college football. Look, as someone who calls FCS football games, I tell you, they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun, and there are a lot of really, really good players. I mean, David Walker from Central Arkansas is about to be a top 3 or 4 round pick in the NFL draft at defensive end. So that's the market for Joe Cotton. Tackles, always in high demand. And right now, in the transfer portal, it's kind of a hot position. Just watch for Vanderbilt. That's where Cotton's offensive line coach went. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.